Hello everyone, welcome back to more of The Witness. I just had to go through an entire fucking hour of horseshit to get this thing recording properly. Because for some reason the game audio was all scratchy and shitty, and I tried recording it in other ways, and you know, it's just the usual mountain of bullshit I have to go through to get anything to work, ever. And I've come back here to this. Click. It's my synchronization point there, just in case Camtasia decides to desync the fucking video again. And, oh my god, it's been months since I've touched this game. And, I was really struggling to figure this one out. And, I think I've come up with a working theory for this puzzle. I'm going to test it here, but basically the thing was, just getting the solution wasn't enough to me. I wanted to actually figure out how it works, because I watched, or rather I was trying to listen to videos of other people solving it so I could try to glean any information on how it actually works. But the thing was, pretty much every video I listened to on how to solve this puzzle, they didn't have the slightest fucking idea how it actually worked. They just found the solution or heard the solution from someone else, and it worked. There wasn't really any understanding of it, and, you know, I think my little red light filter thing is kind of irrelevant here. I mean, there seems to be a bunch of irrelevant shit surrounding this puzzle. Like, we got the sound of the water drops, and we've got the sound of, like, the ship creaking. I've come to the conclusion that the ship creaking noise is completely irrelevant, because the creaking of the ship doesn't seem to synchronize with the sound of the water drops. Like, if you listen to the water drops, it's like, you get a low one, then a high one, then a medium one. There's the high one. And then there's a, and then there's a long gap before you hear the low one again. It's low, high, medium, low, high, medium. But the creaking doesn't seem to sync up with that. It's kind of like when you're sitting in a car, listening to music while it's raining and the windshield wipers are going. You know, for a little while the window wipers will sync up with the music, but then they sort of drift off and they're not in sync anymore. Yeah, the creaking doesn't sync up with the water drops, and I've come to the conclusion that it's completely irrelevant. And even after, when I was listening to these videos, I happened to look over right as the guy solved the puzzle, so fuck me, I saw the solution without actually figuring it out. Even after seeing the solution, I didn't really figure it out. And, I have a, like I say, I have a working theory on how this puzzle is supposed to work, and if I'm right, then the actual solution, I'm not going to show you yet, I'll warn you in case you like me, want to figure this out on your own. The actual solution, like, even though this is a synchronization puzzle where, like, you start here, you draw a line, and then it draws the same line from the opposite corner. Yeah, even though it's one of those puzzles, if my theory is right, then one line is the correct solution, and if you were to draw its mirrored line, that wouldn't work, if I'm right. So, the working theory I have for how to solve this puzzle is that, the reason that the dot... Okay, first of all, the reasons for the different colors. One line has to go through pink, but not orange, and the other line has to go through orange, but not pink. The dark dots, either line can go through one or both of them, I think. So you can have, like, one line go through one dark dot and the other line go through the other dark dot, and it won't matter. But one line has to go through the pink, and the other line has to go through the orange, and if a line goes through pink, it can't go through orange, and vice versa. And, at first I thought you had to hit these dots in a certain order, but, So I'm gonna test, can I test something here? So the pattern goes medium, high, low, medium, no. Low, high, medium, low, high, medium. That's the way that the droplet patterns go. So you got to go big, small, medium. And after seeing the solution, I think that the line you draw has to follow the pattern of big, small, medium. But the mirror line, but the invisible line, while it has to hit all the dots, doesn't have to follow that pattern. And I'm gonna test this by drawing the what the mirrored line for the actual solution is, and if I'm right, it won't work. So I'm going to try my failed solution now. If you want to look away and, you know, actually figure this out on your own like I want to do. So here I go. It worked. My theory's fucking wrong. Okay. Okay, shit. So, the solution that I saw was this. And that still works. So for some reason, even though this line went... Oh, God. Yeah, I mean, I thought that the line you drew had to go big, small, and then medium. And the other line could hit all the dots and it wouldn't matter. But this line went medium, big, medium, small, and for some reason that still worked. Maybe because the parallel, maybe just one of the lines has to go big, small, medium. I don't know anymore. I still don't understand this puzzle. I thought it was the line you drew had to follow low, high, middle. That doesn't seem to be the case. But yeah, this or the one I did before is the solution. Okay, so for those of you who are still trying to figure it out on your own, I'm looking away from the solution. You can look back now. I'm not spoiling it for you. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I guess one of the lines, be it the one you draw or the invisible one, has to follow the pattern of big, small, medium. And one line has to go through pink but not orange, the other line has to go through orange but not pink, and either line can go through the dark dots. That's the best I can figure. So here's my reward that I don't really have not earned. And it's a key to a video that I don't deserve to watch. And look, it's a little dick and ball starting at the middle. So that should be easy enough to remember. So yeah, I think we're actually going to have J-Blow come out and seriously explain this fucking puzzle himself. How the fuck we're supposed to figure this out on our own. Especially when you got that irrelevant bullshit screwing you up like that that red light that had me thinking it was some kind of like light filter puzzle, which it turned out didn't really have anything to do with it. And then there's the creaking audio that didn't seem to have anything to do with it. It was just the droplets. And now I'm getting tinnitus in my left ear. What the fuck? And it's gone. That happens occasionally. Don't know why. It's supposed to be because of loud fucking noises, but nothing in here is particularly loud. So yeah, all these lasers, and I still have to go back and get into the fucking mountain and figure that shit out. Hell, I can't even figure out the goddamn door in the boat. How the hell am I going to get into that mountain? Let's get to the windmill and watch my video. That I absolutely did not earn because I cannot for the fucking life of me figure out that goddamn puzzle. I wanted to. I really wanted to figure that fucking shit out on my own, but goddamn, I just happened to look over at the video right as he was solving the damn thing, and fuck me. Yeah, this other tunnel over here, or up in there, whatever, apparently you have to get inside the mountain to get access to that. Oh, look, and there's only one more left for me to get. Well, let's see, let's draw my little dick and balls. Okay. Awkward guy sitting in silence with some pretty flowers. You gonna say or do anything? Anything? You really should have edited this little chunk out off the beginning here.
Know yourself as the open, empty, luminous presence of awareness.
Okay. Next sentence, please.
Open, because you say yes unconditionally and indiscriminately to all appearances of the mind, body, and world.
I'm already thinking of Jim Carrey, Yes
Like
Man.
Empty space. You have no mechanism inherent within you that can resist any appearance.
Okay, I can
We
go
don't
with
have to
that.
make this the case. It is already the case.
If you say so.
Empty. Because
I took a dump?
although you, I, this aware presence, is aware of thoughts, sensations, and perceptions,
Uh-huh.
it is not made out of a thought, a sensation, or a perception. It is made out of pure knowing or awareness.
Well, yeah. Are you, like, giving us time to contemplate what you
And
just said?
luminous. Because just like the sun, relatively speaking, that renders all objects seeable, so you, I, this open, empty presence, renders all experience knowable.
Well, if you see an infrared, you wouldn't need the sun.
In fact, we don't really see objects, relatively speaking, illumined by the sun. We just see reflections or modulations of the sun's light,
And if you got night vision goggles, you don't need
appearing
the sun's
as a
light.
multiplicity and diversity of color. In the same way, we don't really know the objects of the mind, body, and the world. We just know our knowing of them.
You mean our awareness?
All we know, all that is known, is the knowing of experience. And you are that knowing.
God damn, this guy looks nervous.
All that is ever known is a modulation of our own knowing presence, modulating itself in the form of thinking, sensing, and perceiving, and seeming to become a mind, a body, and a world. But we never actually know a mind, a body, and a world as they are normally conceived. We just know our knowing of them. And this knowing, the substance of our experience, the only substance of our experience is ourself. In other words, we know ourself alone. Awareness knows nothing other than itself. Be knowingly this open, empty, luminous presence of awareness. We don't need to do anything special to make this happen. Above all, we don't have to manipulate the mind in any way whatsoever to be this presence of awareness. This presence of awareness, which is simply our self, what we refer to when we say I, is ever present.
Unless you're asleep and not dreaming.
Just check this in your own experience. Nothing that I am saying this evening, there is nothing that cannot be checked in your own direct experience right now. I bring no special knowledge to this meeting.
There's something I can agree with.
Store of knowledge which I am disseminating. I'm just within the limits of language trying to describe the current experience. Ask yourself, do I know anything other than now?
I know the past, I know my previous experiences, and I can anticipate the future because of those experiences.
To experience the not now. Try first to experience the past.
Done. That's what the past is.
It's easy to experience a thought about the past. But what about the actual past to which this thought refers?
I've already experienced it.
Try to experience that.
I already did. I'm done with it. I've moved on.
Can you step into the past? Can you go 1 second into the past?
Well, not literally.
Or 1 second into the future?
Well,
thought can go there.
In 1 second I will.
But what about you?
And did. Repeatedly.
Really try to go there to make sure that this is not just an interesting philosophical conversation, but that it is actually your experience. That the past and the future are never experienced.
Yes, they are. They
and
were,
if the
and they will
past
be.
and the future are never actually experienced, they are only thought about. And that thought about the past and the future is always now. If this past and future are never experienced, what does that say about time?
Your understanding of it is rather flawed.
Time is a movement between a non-existent past towards a non-existent future.
If the past doesn't
It's a
exist, how do
theory.
we exist?
A necessary and valid theory, but a theory that doesn't refer to the reality of our experience. Nobody has ever or could ever experience time. When I say nobody, I mean yourself, awareness, the only one that knows or is aware.
Yeah, no, that's not how memories work. Are you done?
When I arrived
Nope.
off the plane from London in Washington, D.C.
You mean that thing that happened in the
weekend
past
before
that doesn't
coming here.
exist?
The friend who picked me up asked me how the flight was. And she said, how long did it take? And I experienced thought being cranked up like an old motor, a little resistant to get going.
Jesus Christ, how old are you?
And for a moment, I could feel the cogs of thought almost moving, trying to work out how much time the flight had taken.
You might want to see a doctor.
Because in my experience, it had been now all the way.
Was that the audience laughing at him?
I had never left London. London had left me. I had never got onto an aeroplane, a flow of sensations and perceptions that thought abstracts and calls a body.
Wait, are you saying you're the center of the fucking universe? London left you?
And I never arrived in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. arrived in me, or at least the cluster of perceptions that thought calls Washington, D.C.
Okay, I can kind of understand where you're coming from, but
in the same way,
in a literal sense, you're fucking
ever walked into this room, and nobody is sitting on a chair. And
I'm sitting in a fucking chair.
To a talk. A colourful flow of sensations and perceptions appears in awareness. But awareness never goes anywhere or does anything. It is always here and now, not here a place and now a time. Here, this dimensionless, now this timeless presence of our own being.
Okay, so you're saying that each of us is the center of our own universe. I get that.
Whether we recognize it or not. Now the mind may feel a little rebellious when it hears this.
Oh God, how long is this?
It may say yes, 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 that's true, but there is an undeniable continuity to my experience. And this undeniable continuity would seem to be evidence of time.
Yeah. How can continuity exist if the past and the future don't exist? Well,
where does this felt sense of continuity come from?
Memories of the past.
All we know of the mind is the current thought or image.
I can remember thoughts I had in the past.
Are intermittent. The body is known through sensation, and all sensations are intermittent. All we know of the world is perception, that is, sights, sounds, tastes, textures, and smells.
Well, there's more than that.
Nobody has ever experienced a world as such, a world as it is normally conceived to be. We just know the current perception, and all perception is intermittent. So if the so-called mind, body, and world are intermittent,
okay, I know that tone I'm hearing isn't from my ears.
Felt sense of continuity come from?
Past, present, and
future. It comes from the only thing, if we can call it a thing.
You can call lots of things things.
That is truly continuous, or in fact not continuous, but ever present now in our experience. And that is our own being, the presence of awareness. The presence of awareness is the only thing that is known to be ever present. Now the mind knows nothing of awareness because the mind only knows apparent objects. So when the mind looks at experience to find what it is that accounts for continuity, it cannot see awareness. And so it manufactures a substance called time to account for the continuity of experience.
Speak for yourself, buddy.
In other words, continuity in time is what eternity looks like when viewed through the narrow slit of the mind.
That was almost dirty.
Permanence in space is what the infinite, unlimited nature of awareness looks like when viewed through the narrow slit of the mind.
Oh God, how long is this?
Continuity and permanence are pale reflections at the level of the mind of the true, eternal and infinite nature of awareness, that is, of our self.
Gosh, those are some pretty flowers. I am aware of those pretty flowers. I am aware that he is thirsty.
What else can we say about ourself from our actual experience? Which means right now, what can we know for certain about ourself? Not what thought may tell us about ourself, but what we actually know in this moment, derived only from our experience of ourself.
I'm aware that I have a lot of fucking
Ask
patience to
yourself,
sit through this.
can I, this open, empty, knowing presence, can I be agitated?
A good swift kick in the nuts ought to do it.
Thought can be agitated. Sensations, or the body, can be agitated.
Yes, they can.
The world can be agitated. But what about you, the one that knows the apparent mind, body, and world? Can you, this open, empty presence, be agitated?
Bet your ass I can.
See, in your experience right now, that you are, and this of course is just an image, are like an open, empty space, such as the space of this room. Nothing that appears within this room can agitate it. We are all sitting peacefully now, but if we were to stand up and start dancing or fighting, would the space of this room become agitated?
The empty space itself?
I
No.
like that. You, I, the presence of awareness, are undisturbable, imperturbable.
I disagree. Strongly.
We don't need to become imperturbable, and this undisturbability of ourself is not dependent upon the condition of the mind.
Whoever is fucking
Right
with the
now,
goddamn slide screen,
you-
please stop.
Awareness are utterly imperturbable, and for this reason, another name for ourself is peace.
I, again,
Peace is not a
disagree.
quality that ourself has. It is what ourself is.
Not all the time.
Peace of mind.
Go back and watch some of my other
Minds
videos.
are more or less
That'll prove this guy wrong.
agitated. This peace that passeth understanding, that is not of the mind.
I'll show you a fucking master's course in agitation.
It doesn't have to be sought. It is not hiding in the background of experience. This very awareness that is seeing, hearing, knowing, is pure peace itself, shining in all experience, however apparently agitated that experience may be. Ask yourself, can I, this presence of awareness, ever lack something?
Yes.
Thoughts can say that something is missing. Feelings can say that something is missing. But what about you?
I think there's a wide variety of states of mind and
Without referring to thought or feeling,
illnesses.
is there the slightest motive in you
that
to
can
avoid
cause someone
the
to
now
miss a lot
and
of
replace it with
themselves.
the not now.
For example, Alzheimer's disease.
See that in yourself, this presence of awareness, there is not the slightest impulse or possibility to avoid the now.
There's a condition that'll seriously
And
fuck
what
up
do we
your
call
awareness.
this absolute absence of resistance to the now? The absolute absence of resisting what is and seeking what is not. What is the common name we give to this?
Unconsciousness?
It is called happiness.
I think that's a bit of a stretch.
We all know that when we are happy, we are by definition not resisting the now and seeking in the past or the future. By happiness, of course, I do not mean a pleasant state of the mind or the body.
What the fuck do you
I
mean?
mean this absolute impossibility of ourself ever to resist or seek, to resist what is and to seek what is not. So happiness, like peace, is just another name for ourself. It is not a quality that ourself has. It is what ourself is.
Once again, not all the time.
What else can we say for certain based on this current experience about ourselves?
I'm bored. Which gives me some
When I was
trepidation
driving
about
here,
uploading this video.
being driven here the day before yesterday from the airport in San Francisco, I was looking in the wing mirror of the passenger seat and I noticed the words inscribed at the bottom of the wing mirror. And they said,
Objects are closer than they
"Objects
appear.
in the mirror are closer than you think."
Closer than they appear.
A statement of pure non-duality.
Oh my god, that's not that funny. Hell, even in Jurassic Park, it wasn't that
Objects
funny.
that appear in the mirror of consciousness are closer than we think. How close to a mirror are the objects that appear in it? Are there in fact two things? One, the objects that appear in the mirror, and two, the mirror?
Yes.
Or is it all just mirror?
If you're in a fun house,
All we know of the apparent mind is the experience of thinking. And thinking is just a modulation of yourself, a modulation of knowing.
I know a hell of a lot more than just that.
All we know of the apparent body is the experience of sensing. And sensing is a modulation of yourself, awareness.
No, I've
All
taken
we know
high school
the apparent
biology. I
world
know more about the body than
is the
that.
experience of seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, and smelling. These are all modulations of knowing, modulations of ourself. In other words, we never truly know a mind or a body or a world. These labels are just abstractions that thought superimposes on the intimacy of our experience. From the point of view of experience, which is the only real point of view, experience is much closer, much more intimate. So close as to not admit the possibility of two things. One, myself, awareness, and two, the object that I know. Even that is an abstraction. It may be a useful stepping stone, a halfway understanding to conceive of thoughts, sensations, and perceptions arising in awareness. But nothing arises in awareness. The only substance of all experience, the only substance of thinking, sensing, and perceiving is already awareness.
Okay.
What do we call this absolute absence of two things? A subject that knows and an object that is known. Take now the experience of hearing. Go to the sound of the air conditioning. Forget about the labels sound and air conditioning. Our only knowledge of the apparent air conditioning is the experience of hearing. How close does hearing take place to you? 5 meters away?
Inside my
10
ear.
meters away? Refer only to your experience, not to what thought tells you about sound. Where is hearing?
It's in my ear.
Is it close?
And brain.
Intimate? And in the experience of hearing, can you find two parts? One part that hears, and another part that is heard? Or is it just one seamless, intimate substance called myself?
No, it's your voice and my ears.
And what about this room? Thought says, I, the inside self in here, sees the room, the outside world out there. But what does experience say? All we know of the apparent room is the experience of seeing. Remove seeing, and the room vanishes.
No.
In other words, we don't know a room.
Just because you're fucking blind doesn't mean the rest
We
of
just
the
know
world
the
doesn't
experience
exist.
of seeing. Does seeing take place 5, 10, 15 meters away from yourself?
No, it happens in my eyeballs
Or
and in
is
the back
seeing
of my brain,
utterly intimate?
where my visual cortex is.
And can you find two parts to the experience of seeing?
Yes, one who
part that
sees and one
sees.
that's seen.
And another part that is seen? Or is it just one seamless, intimate substance?
No.
And what is the name, the common name we give to the absolute intimacy of all experience?
Memory?
It's called love.
What?
Love is the most familiar experience that we all know, the collapse or dissolution of the sense of a self in here and an object, other, or world out there.
That's a bit of a stretch.
The collapse of this sense of separateness, distance, otherness, not me-ness, is what we call love.
Me-ness. I never heard that one before.
Love is just another name for non-duality. If we call it non-duality, there's just a few thousand of us in the world that are interested in it. But if we call it love, or peace, or happiness, then all 7 billion of us are interested in it.
Not all of us.
So why is it, if love, peace, happiness of a natural condition of all experience, the substance out of which all experience is made, how is it that it seems not to be experienced?
Because I wasn't there to experience it.
It is because of a single thought that rises in awareness, made only of awareness, which imagines that awareness shares the limits of the thoughts, feelings, and sensations that appear within it. It is like imagining that a mirror shares the limits of the objects that appear in it. With that thought alone, the ever-present, unlimited awareness, which is what we are, seems to acquire or take on the apparent limits of the body and the mind, just as the screen seems to take on the limits of an image when a film begins. As a result of this,
no, the image takes on the
imaginary
limits of the
collapse
screen.
Or contraction of our self, unlimited, eternal awareness into a body and a mind. These qualities of love, peace, and happiness are seemingly veiled. And it is for this reason that the self, the separate self that thought imagines us to be, is always, by definition, on a search in the imaginary outside world for the apparently lost love, peace, and happiness.
It's not imaginary.
However, this imaginary inside self cannot, by definition, find the love that it seeks, because its very presence, its apparent presence, is the veiling of that love.
If I smashed your fingers with a hammer, I doubt that would feel very imaginary.
All the separate self seeks is love. In fact, the separate self is not an entity that searches. It is the activity of resisting the now and seeking the not now.
Damn, those
All
are some
this
pretty flowers.
seeking ever wants is love. But love is
Not all
the
the time.
dissolution of this seeking, the dissolution of this imaginary self.
Not always.
In other words,
Sometimes we search
the
for other
separate
shit.
self that seeks love is like a moth that seeks a flame. The flame is all the moth wants, but it is the only thing it cannot have.
Oh, we can have it,
Because
but rather
as the
the
moth
flame can have the moth.
Touches the flame, it dies. That is its way of knowing the flame.
Okay.
It becomes the flame as it touches it.
No,
That
it
is the
becomes
separate
ashes
self's
as the
way
flame touches
of
it.
finding love by dying in it.
Oh my god.
The death or dissolution of the separate self is the experience of love.
Is it just me, or does that sound kind of morbid? Are you done, please?
So simply be knowingly this open, empty, luminous presence of awareness, whose nature, whose inherent nature is love, peace, and happiness. Not a love, peace, and happiness that is in the background of experience that has to be sought, but that is shining in full view, at the heart of all experience. In fact, experience is made out of this substance called peace or happiness.
I can tell you from personal experience that no, not all experiences are made out of peace and happiness and love. Some of them are downright fucking shitty. Oh God, please tell me he's done. Please. Now swallow 3 more times and end the video. Or just stand there and blink. Are you like blinking in Morse code trying to tell the guy to stop recording? Okay, I'm putting a fucking blink counter on the end of this here. I think we're already past 20. Oh, thank fucking Christ it's over. Oh my God, that's the reward you get for solving the goddamn red door puzzle on the shipwreck. Jesus fucking Christ, there's one left, and I'm pretty sure it's in the mountain. So we've got a dick and ball solution, and we've got a sperm solution, and apparently a boot solution. I'm gonna call that a honeycomb spiral solution, and the DNA swiggle solution. So, wait a minute. Oh, right, that was the thing I had to solve to open the door. Okay. I just now noticing these fucking things. Or no, that was the shit I had to do to open the door. Okay. Okay, well, that shit is done. Oh my fucking God. All I did was, like, talk about opening the door for a few minutes, open the door, and then listen to that guy prattle on for, fuck, what was that, a half an hour? Jesus Christ. Oh, anyway, next time I'm gonna be going back up to the mountain and we'll try getting into that shit. So until then, see you later, and hope you had a good nap.